This video is about what I point to with the term purification. And it's a follow-up with some specifics on the previous two videos entitled Solipsism, Nihilism, and the Dark Night of the Soul, and There is no Thinker of Thoughts. When experiencing purification, which could be described as feeling arising or coming up and out, and an emptying of the body-mind of misunderstandings, misinterpretation, and misidentification. It's not uncommon to experience much emotional confusion in this transition or stage or period, and my aim here is to share some insights from my experience in the hope it sheds some light on what you might be experiencing, making purification easier. I would like to read some dialogue from the movie The Matrix, which I believe gets straight to the heart of the matter. And for anyone who hasn't seen The Matrix, in this scene, Neo is representative of the student and Morpheus of the teacher. And then, as a side note, if you have not seen The Matrix and you are watching this video and on the path, definitely do yourself the favor of watching The Matrix. Neo says to Morpheus, "What are you trying to tell me, that I can dodge bullets?" Morpheus says, "No, Neo, I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to." Morpheus, "This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep this rabbit hole goes." Again, Morpheus, what is real? What do you define as real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electronic signals interrupted by your brain. Neo, sooner or later you're going to realize, just as I did, that there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, disbelief. Free your mind. Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and a real world? I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Neo says, "You could say that." Morpheus, "I see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, that's not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate, Neo?" And Neo says, "No." Morpheus, "Why not?" "Because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life." To which Morpheus replies, "I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here, Neo. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You've felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?" Neo says, "The Matrix." Morpheus says, "Do you want to know what it is?" And Neo, of course, says, "Yes." Morpheus, "The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth." Neo, "What truth?" Morpheus, that you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, into a prison that you cannot touch, taste, or see. A prison for your mind. I'm trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. Neo, why do my eyes hurt? Morpheus, because you've never used them before. Morpheus describes the matrix as the world which has been pulled over your eyes, blinding you from the truth. Another word for this is conditioning, or beliefs, or collective beliefs. Morpheus also notes that you feel it, and that you have felt it your entire life, and that you don't know what it is, but that it is, that the truth is nonetheless, whether known, understood, or even acknowledged. Again, in any and all cases, you are feeling it. And it is that implied duality, the you and the it, which is the root of the confusion. Our direct experience can be broken down to three basic components experienced: thought, perception, and feeling. Three key distinctions. There is no direct experience of two perception, and there is no direct experience of two feeling. And all thought is dualistic implication. It is not actually two, all thought implies two. Up basically means not down. Down means not up. Right means not left. Left means not right. If you take away down, up no longer has any meaning. If you take away right, left no longer has any meaning, and vice versa. Why is this so important to grasp? Because the believing of thoughts is essentially the hijacking of perception and feeling via implications of duality or two-ness. A key distinction in this regard is that emotion is thought or thoughts resonating or not with feeling. Analogously, you might think of feeling as Wi-Fi, which appears as phones, which then compute my Wi-Fi. In this analogy, the only reality of the phones is the Wi-Fi, which is everywhere, though it cannot be seen, heard, tasted, smelled, or touched. Yet the very evidence of the Wi-Fi is the appearance of the phones, which are therefore never separate from and always feeling the Wi-Fi. This change in understanding our direct experience can often exacerbate or overwork thought or the mind, such that thought implies a multitude or pluralization of identities or selves, such as me, my mind, self, no self, ego, or even giving accreditation to a body mind said to be causing an ego backlash. The key to clarity and a smoother transition, if you will, with respect to purification, is recognizing these implied dualities are only implied by thoughts. So the thing to do is to breathe deeply, relax head to toe, and return focus to perception and feeling over and over. Be sure not to beat up on yourself with any internal dialogues. If you notice this occurring, again, breathe, relax, and gently, effortlessly return focus to perception and feeling. It can indeed get rough, but it will pass. And this one fulcrum, if you will, of either focusing more and more on concerning or worrisome thoughts or dualities of your self narratives, creating more and more discordant narratives, or focusing on feeling and perception, very much is the key. Don't attempt to stop thoughts, and don't even regard thoughts as problematic. Just relax and focus on breathing, seeing, hearing, and feeling again and again. It might be easier to remember and more simply said, having said that, to just say, be where you are. Note that a transition is occurring, which could be likened to a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. And be as patient and self-loving as possible with this transition. An old paradigm, the matrix, is emptying out, and feeling is filling in. There is not a new paradigm filling in. What is actual, feeling, which is love, which is infinite intelligence, which is intuition, is being uncovered. There can be a roller coaster of thoughts and emotions, and I want to give specific examples of this in hope that it is helpful and clarifying. And I'll use the old paradigm, new paradigm model to explain. But again, keep in mind, there is no new paradigm. When I'm saying new paradigm, I am pointing to what is actual. A disclaimer of sorts as to something which might not yet be realized first, which the things I'm about to say incorporate, and that is that the body is infinite mind, which is a term for unconditional love appearing as reality. I want to point this out for anyone who is experiencing a clinical issue, such as clinical anxiety or clinical depression. I am in no way saying that your experience or diagnosis is wrong or invalid. I'm pointing to a deeper realization that body and mind are actually thoughts which are used to label but never actually define unconditional love appearing as the body-mind. Much like the analogy of the Wi-Fi appearing as the phones, a well-known pointer to this that comes to mind is a quote from Jesus. When you find it, you will not say, here it is, or there it is, for the kingdom of God is already in your midst. Variations of this quote state that the kingdom is already among you or already within you. Some specifics having said that, if you are experiencing anxiety, the old paradigm would be anxiety is a feeling, one of many feelings, and anxiety is thought of, generally speaking, as something wrong with you. The new paradigm or actuality would be there is not and never was anything wrong with you. Anxiety points to a thought which labels feeling, but does not ever actually define feeling and can actually contribute to suppressing feeling or covering up feeling, the very guidance that feeling is. That is, there is a thought about yourself or your experience which is in discord with feeling. Instead of labeling that experience anxiety, I'm suggesting inspecting and contemplating more deeply, which might sound like, what am I thinking, which my source, my inner guidance, is not joining me in? What thought, belief, or perspective am I focusing on, which unconditional love, which is not to, cannot join in? You can contemplate and inspect or use this same framing of consideration for depression, sadness, loneliness, boredom, guilt, shame, unworthiness, powerlessness, or any similar words, thoughts, or emotions. A key is to never suppress emotion or feeling, but to express, to allow it to be verbalized and or written, and thus more heard and understood. Another key is to be aware of the potential spiderwebbing or spiraling nature of the mind in this sensitive time or transition. The mind can focus on loss of meaning nihilistically, spiraling out into more and more thoughts which also don't resonate with truth or love. If, for example, it is concerning or worrisome that there are not separate selves or separate objects, if this thought does not feel good, if it does not resonate, acknowledge that a thought is a thought, and that these perspectives or these thoughts are not resonating with feeling. Do not simply believe the thoughts are true, as in, that's why it feels terrible, or I'm supposed to feel bad sometimes, or something is wrong with me, or this is supposed to be difficult. Acknowledge that some thoughts do not feel good, because they are not true about the very goodness that you are, that feeling is. Again, purification can be intense. There might be a lot of tears. You might have trouble sleeping. You might have a diminished appetite, etc. In any and all cases, the key is, what am I focusing on which doesn't resonate, which I can let go of? While you are free, of course, to do whatever you choose to do to feel better, what I am suggesting here is a very nuanced distinction. That feeling great, or simply put, feeling as the goodness, the love that you are, does not require any doing, achieving, accomplishing, or obtaining. That is the conditioning. Beliefs about yourself, which can be realized to be discordant in feeling, and as such can be let go or no longer focused on. And once again, the answer to how to let go is to focus instead on breathing, ideally from the stomach, relaxing head to toe and focusing on seeing, hearing, and feeling. I hope some of these insights and distinctions are helpful if you are experiencing the things mentioned here. If you have any follow-up or specific questions, feel free to comment below or email me through my website anytime. Also, if you like this content and found it to be helpful and would like others to hear it as well, please take a quick second to click like and subscribe.